Welcome to the HOLDO MANEUVER podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Mike. We're two hardworking dads trying to immerse ourselves into Star Wars and fit it into our very busy lives.
If this is your first time listening and or watching, in this sometimes short-form Star Wars podcast, we'll share our thoughts on different topics from a galaxy far, far away. So join us as we prepare to execute the HOLDO maneuver. All right,
You gotta go to Arizona, don't you?
Yeah.
He'll be back. Don't worry.
Welcome to another live episode of the HOLDO Maneuver podcast. This week we are joined by Andrea from Coach Beard's Book Club again.
Hello.
And then we got Adam Daniel.
Hello.
So we got all the A's for Ahsoka this week.
All the A's.
Yeah.
Although I'm on D this week.
Yeah. Mike's doing a little running joke for people that have been watching video to see what his title is each week. So if you've been paying attention, it's one of those little subtle, nice jokes there. But yeah, so yeah, this week it's gonna be for episode 54 of the HOLDO Maneuver, covering part 5 of Ahsoka, which was called Shadow Warrior. But you know, it's hard writing a new Ahsoka themed joke every week. Because sometimes they feel forced.
For sure.
Couldn't hear it.
I agree.
But yeah, so this episode was written and directed by Dave Filoni, and we might as well get into it too. And also, if people haven't listened to the show before, Mike and I are both dads trying to fit Star Wars into our exceedingly busy lives.
We try.
Whether it's a TV show, movie, whatever, any other Star Wars thing that's been released, book, themed park, you know, a dog, I don't know what it is, whatever. That we talk about it. So before we kind of go step by step through it, I guess we'll go round table, and I'll ask Andrea first, then Adam, and then Mike, and then I'll go for what everybody thought about the episode rather.
I liked the nostalgia of it. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about where this story is going. So, we're 5 episodes in. Where are we going? But the nostalgia is awesome. I love it. Love every second of it. Give me more Vader.
How about you?
Initial reaction, I was just kind of looking forward to the Anakin stuff, and that kind of paid off for me. But same thing, I'm like, okay, where are we heading now? Kind of interested to see what the next pivot is, because I think episode 5 kind of you're ending this 6 episode arc, or the 1 through 3, and then 3 through 6 episode arc, or however they're ending it or doing it. So I'm just interested to see where this kind of leads it.
Mike?
I felt this episode because I haven't seen Rebels and I haven't seen Clone Wars, so the nostalgia was low for me. Everything they went through was new footage, I guess, for me. So I was lost a little bit on why Anakin was taking her on this journey. And then I thought this probably would have been a better kickoff episode for an Ahsoka series than what we got. The first few episodes just felt like the start of a Rebels season again. It's how I felt, because they kept recapping just based on our discussions and what I've read, and they were just basically recapping Rebels in live action here and there, and now the story is supposed to start, and I kind of agree. Where are we going to go? This kind of felt like maybe this should have been the start of the season for Ahsoka. That's just, I'm enjoying what I'm watching. It's been good for the most part. I don't know much about Ahsoka, so I'm Ahsoka-ing it in, if you will.
Wow.
Where's
the drum?
That's on
snare
you.
drum. No,
I
that's
was
on
talking.
hoping.
Well, I wasn't expecting that joke. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess as per usual, I'm although Adam seemed about my wavelength on this one. I feel like again I'm the like
You're the Homer.
I just liked it all. I mean, Anakin is my favorite character. I don't know if that's problematic now. Maybe it probably is. The nice Anakin, you know, the nice parts of Anakin. But yeah, I've really been enjoying seeing Hayden Christensen come back between Obi-Wan Kenobi and now here in Ahsoka. And I was actually like what you guys are saying about like the nostalgia, and then possibly like if you hadn't seen Rebels or Clone Wars, maybe how that would have felt. Although for me, I guess like mileage may vary, but I think the way the story was told in this one, I kind of threw like these like living flashbacks, because it seems like to like phrase or term it and like or give it a comp in like another fantastical story like the Room of Requirement from like the Wizarding World Harry Potter books. It almost seems like that's more like what the World Between Worlds is. Kind of it kind of fits what it needs to whoever's there at that point in time. Whereas like for people that that watch Rebels, it did what it needed to teach Ezra what he needed to while he was there. And then while Ahsoka was here in this episode, it taught her what she needed to kind of, you know, essentially become Zen or enlightened within the Force. And spoiler alert as to what we see her at the end, like becomes like Ahsoka the White, more or less. But I think that's my overall thoughts, like as a wide scope for it. But now we can start getting into our larger discussion about, you know, from top to
Big
bottom.
picture.
Yeah. And like before we get into that, thank you to everybody that is in the live chat that came and checked in. Ralph Vactor, and Silver K stopping by to say hello. Thank you, we appreciate it. So I'm gonna let you guys kind of kick it off, because I was busy this
You're
week.
feeling
So
unprepared?
I mean, you know, I was busy this week, so I didn't have too much time to put my own notes, but I will let Mike start, or Adam. Yeah, Adam, then Andrea, then Mike. We'll just go in the order that we already been going. So Adam, Andrea, then Mike, then me.
I wish I could just like spin this thing and then whenever it stopped, that's
The
what
wheel.
goes.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So you just want me to get into my like what exactly do you want? Like
You have the
my
first note, so you're up first.
Oh, gotcha. So I feel like when I see that planet, it opens up on that planet. I felt like it's very strange, but I felt like it was like a Game of Thrones kind of thing. It's like just the coloring maybe, but then I also thought like in the future, it kind of looks like the planet that they're on in episode like not 10 or wherever.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
Kylo's supposed to be.
That's
Which-
what it kind of looked like to me.
Which apparently that's Mustafar.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, apparently
Like
he's on
said
Mustafar. They never say that in the movie, but apparently that's where he's supposed to be.
Oh, okay. Because I don't remember hearing. They did say the name of the planet, but I don't remember it because I just remember Game of Thrones planet in my brain. But that's kind of how it opened up for me, and then saying like they don't listen to me, like they separated, and this is what happens. And he's quickly becoming my favorite character, David Tennant.
Oh yeah,
Quickly becoming
He's
my
the
favorite.
grumpy old man.
Yeah, he's great.
What?
I love it.
Yeah.
What was funny is I think last week we said, excuse me, that we had Balin ending the episode 3, kind of like looking off and brooding at the ocean, and then we had Ahsoka opening the next episode after that, not looking off to the ocean, but just like looking off and brooding in that, and then this one we got Hu Yang looking off in the ocean and brooding. So
Yeah.
even the androids are getting in on that brooding action.
Yeah, I mean, I think the androids are kind of stealing it. Like Yang and Chopper are like kind of stealing the show for me. I even want the Loaf Cat to come back. I thought the Loaf Cat was awesome. was such a great character. And at times I think that they're showing more emotions in the humanoids.
There's definitely been a switch in the series with the droids and their like sentientness and how they're like giving them life and story, and
Yeah. I mean,
it went from like they're just tools to now they're like a race of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of from
Which is
like
cool.
Rogue One, maybe? Like she frees all the robots. Maybe that's kind of like a thing.
Oh, leads?
Yeah.
From
Am
Solo?
I mentioning the wrong movie? Yeah, I think I mentioned the wrong movie. But yeah.
Right.
Where they like free the robots. Everything is like a mush for me sometimes with it.
I know, like, all goes together.
So, but yeah. That might be part of their evolution there. I don't know. I don't know that like
Maybe.
that timeline. But maybe
even on Andor, like the droid was just like they had that one episode. I was like crying watching him. He was so good.
Oh yeah,
Like, what are the droids just seem to be carrying so much for Star Wars? I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, his name is B2 Emo. He B2 Emo. Yeah, but I know. Yeah, we're just.
It's not working. That drum shot doesn't like work. I'll have to play something else.
HOLDO MANEUVER, a dad joke podcast. Yeah, like I know that Adam's got a note here about Anakin, but that's before everyone starts talking about that. I just want to say that's really what I was super excited about for this because when I got into Star Wars back in like 97, a little bit before that, like mostly when it started airing on TV when I was younger, and then when it came out, the special editions, and then obviously when the prequels came out. But like when the prequels came out, that's like when I was like super into it. I remember this will show not kind of like my age, but like I remember like modding my MySpace page so that it was like very like Star Wars, like changed you could have music on there, I think. So I changed it so
That's
like,
what MySpace is now. It's just like a music platform.
Yeah, so it was like playing like Augie's Municipal March on there, and then I had just like a Starfield in the back, and the profile picture that I had on there when I met my wife through MySpace was like a Star Wars track jacket. So, and Mike, I've talked about this many times, is that I liked Star Wars so much that when I still did have hair, I permed my hair so that it would look like Anakin's Revenge of the Sith hair.
He did.
So there's a character in our bedroom of us as Anakin and Padme. So I tell my son, I was like, see, you're in that character too, because you're right there. But awkward segue to Adam talking about Anakin now.
Yeah, the Anakin stuff is what I was looking forward to for sure. Because I didn't watch it till all the stuff it just kind of leaks out. But it kind of led to it anyway. But I just enjoyed how it was kind of like she got to step back into the Padawan relationship with him, and then see it through like a different light, because she was traveling through time as her adult self, seeing things through a different light, and had a lot more remorse than Anakin did. You can kind of see senses of who Anakin became as Vader in those scenes, I think. And I think honestly, I'm gonna give a shout out to him. I think it's been a pretty well acted performance by him too. He showed a lot of depth. So I also don't think that he was able to do all that stuff maybe in the Lucas directed stuff. But shout out to Hayden Christensen for that, because I think he's done a beautiful job reconnecting with this character and giving us something that we've never really seen from the character.
Yeah,
I echo that. I mean, I think Lucas really just wanted to focus on what technology could do in the prequels, and was just like, yeah, your performance is fine, but look at this over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like because the more I watch the prequels and the more I watch the stuff coming out, I'm like, the acting is so bad back then, and it just felt like Lucas was like, that was afterthought. Like, I have this story, I'm going to tell it. I don't care about that as much as everything else that I want in this story.
Mhm.
Not to say he's a bad director. I just feel like his priorities were effects, the world, building the world, telling the story, character. Not to say he didn't make good characters either, but it just was like the order in which he cared. They were lower tier, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And go ahead.
Oh, no, say I agree with you. I think I was saying like I kind of struggle with the purpose of all of this whole scene, but like there's that part of me like I'm watching it and like it was beautiful for one thing. That the whole it was beautiful the way that they put it together, and like there's this beautiful nostalgia, and like you're so caught up in the moment, right? And then I did struggle between like kind of really enjoying it and kind of like realizing like what's the purpose of all of this? Like how are we actually moving the story forward? But yeah, like I agree with you. I feel like he has been able to really develop the character between Boba Fett and this, or not Boba Fett. I'm sorry. Oh my
Obi-Wan.
God, Obi-Wan and this.
Yeah, there's the
Where,
word.
I mean, it's just like I loved the way that he acted Darth Vader in that series. Like it was so well done. And then yes, this I agree. Like he was such a perfect. Talk about it a little bit later, but like that duality between he's just like like you got old, like kind of an asshole, right? Can I say that? Or is this?
You're good. We're
Um,
live. What are we going to do?
sorry.
There it is.
Yeah, and then but then calling her Snips again, so yeah, it was really well done.
I mean, for me, I just struggled with the purpose of this stuff. I didn't know what the journey she was supposed to be taking was. The desire to live? Or it's like he was supposed to be guiding her through something. So let me make you relive things, but why? Maybe you guys know or can explain that to me, because I was just struggling with that.
So at least for me, it felt like he was. So for me, I'm also assuming this wasn't like actually Anakin, but it was a projection of Ahsoka, like projecting Anakin, like how she remembered him, both as Anakin and like those little flashes of Vader that we got there too. So like this is all like herself battling herself there, and like he was giving her like a reason to live because she like blamed herself for everything that's like ever happened basically in her life, because this one it like really accentuated like how much of like a child like warrior she was in Clone Wars, just because based off of like the styling of that show, you maybe just thought maybe that like her character's just like a shorter character, but like actually seeing like Ariana Greenblatt, I think I pronounced her name correctly, as like the younger Ahsoka there, and then even seeing her like within that time period of Siege of Mandalore, which if that young version of Ahsoka beat the crap out of Darth Maul, so just remember that. But I think like in that part where like he's like, oh, I don't remember this. What's this? She's like, oh, we had already separated at that time and point. I think that kind of shows why she's like been like broody or kind of stoic since we've seen her in live action versus animation, because Siege of Mandalore is kind of like where her animation storyline more or less kind of ends timeline wise. I mean, there's a little bit more thereafter with the like the Tales of the Jedi and then what she does in Rebels, but like for most of what we saw with her kind of ends there. So I thought it was basically just kind of her like reliving moments from her life, more like kind of like one of her first missions with Anakin, kind of questioning like her whole reason for being a Jedi, or like wanting to take on a Padawan eventually, and then just that like her legacy was essentially just like death and war. So by the time that like she would eventually take on Sabine as a Padawan, that's really all she knew how to kind of teach Sabine, was to like to be a warrior, like the same way like it's like, oh, you're a warrior. And so she's part of that legacy of basically, I guess it would be what, like Yoda, Qui-Gon, or no, sorry, Yoda, Dooku, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's what I think. But we I'll let someone else take from there.
Let me just see. No, I mean, it was very cool visually, the stuff that they did, and I enjoy a good flashback, so I'm not upset about it. I just struggled with what we were supposed to gain from the flashbacks, but I'm not gonna beat that horse anymore. At the end, it was just I kind of chuckled when, because like it was cool, like the water comes up, she's submerged, and then she's just like floating in the water. But then when she comes out of the water, she's like the Gandalf the White. Like that was her "you shall not pass" moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like she falls down this pit and then comes back in white robes to save the day later. And so I was just like chuckling. I was like, just Gandalf. That's all she is now.
Yeah, I think that was like the one thing that they like retconned from the Rebels finale, because she's already like wearing like the Silk of the White stuff, and they changed that in this so that there's a reason why she's already that way. She's also bald in that one part too, because she doesn't have her headdress on, which is like the first.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the notes too. I was like, was that just like a flex? You're like, no, this is real makeup. This isn't a headdress. Like,
I mean, it looked good. It looked really seamless.
Yeah,
it looked fantastic. I did notate that as well. How great that looked, because it was like the first time you really saw her without some sort of headdress, or not headdress, but like something specifically covering that part of her head.
Yeah,
that I recall.
and the other note I had, sorry to interrupt. It just made it more maddening last week, the fight between her and Balin. Why didn't she use two sabers last week? She's so strong with them, yet in this pivotal moment, she chooses to be like, oh, I'm just going to use one.
she switches a lot.
I was just like, it was driving me crazy.
In the animated series, yeah, but I think she's always switching. She doesn't always only fight with both. But yeah, it's so cool when she does the two. It's so cool.
Yeah. There were some cool sequences with the two lightsabers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just the thing. Like every Jedi, I think, knows it's a different fighting style when you're using two as opposed to one. So maybe she feels stronger using one against him than the two. Yeah. It's just a style. I don't know, but I mean that would be my Jedi mind choice, I guess.
And I can't take credit for it, but I was listening to like another show, and they had pointed out it was kind of like Balin is more of like the old like Knight of the Round Table kind of broadsword like fighting style with like the two hands, and she's more of like a samurai, user surroundings and body, like the way she was like being nimble with the way and whatnot of how she was fighting.
Yeah, they're definitely.
Well, and watching the two of them fight, he taught her, and he taught her everything, but like, right? Like there's moments where she shows a style that is very much like him. And that was really cool to see.
Anakin. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anakin.
Yeah. Anakin trained her, right? Like he taught her some of the stuff she knows. And so watching the two of them fight was very cool. And I loved I loved that transition again. Like I'm going to keep harping on it because I thought it was just beautiful. The duality with him where he was kind of being mean, but then being nice, being complimentary and all the stuff. And even like the lightsaber switching where he started with the blue and then it was red. And the way his fighting changed, both of their fighting changed when he switched the lightsabers. And then just the visual of like, they would show those flashes where his silhouette would change to Vader and back. Like that was just, I loved it.
Yeah, he did the Henry Cavill Mission Impossible like shoulder like
right.
Yeah, that's gonna be like a new GIF that people like pass on. Where it's just like Hayden Christensen walking and it's like changes to Vader for a second. There's that other shot too, like the earlier Clone Wars shot, where he's like walking back out into the battle, and as he's walking, it quick flash to like Vader and then quick flash to. Kenny from Trek Wars asked, is that was the first time that the vision and like her makeup and her laku, her floppies, period, or had we seen that in animation stuff too?
No, I think it was always covered in the animation.
Yeah, yeah, because I can't ever remember ever being no like headdressless. I
Yeah,
think even like the baby version of Ahsoka has
it has
something
something.
like that, I think.
Yeah, they all
But
wear something over. Yeah, yeah.
That's why I called it a flex. They were showing off their makeup prowess.
For sure,
just-
as they should. I mean, it looked amazing.
They look
Like,
great.
you just
Yeah.
gotta just
practical is always better.
keep doing it.
Like practical.
I
is
agree.
always-
But
That's part of my reason why I can't get into the animation Star Wars as much as I can the live action stuff.
I understand that because I'm like I'm not a huge into the Clone Wars and the animated stuff. I watch, like, I sprinkle it in to try and like understand the story
Right.
more than I like dive in and watch it. That's like my way of watching it, because I agree. It's the animation just doesn't do it. The style animation doesn't do it for me. I don't mind the writing performances. It's just that style of animation. I'm like, I can live without it.
Mm-hmm.
really quick before we move on to the next thing too is that while we were talking about that, I was very happy to see a live action version of Anakin's Clone Wars armor too. And the fact that they even like shortened Hayden's hair so it's supposed to be like the length that it was like within that time period, like
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the details were phenomenal.
I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Hot Toys like sold like a figure of that like years ago already. So like, if you wanted to, you could, because they made it look like the likeness of Hayden and not like the animation style. But yeah, so
I kind of feel bad for all the voice actors in the animation though, because they're cutting the stuff that they worked on, and then these live people are not them. Kind of just feel a little bad.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah. They don't match their characters though. In some
Yeah, it's
like it's yeah.
just, they did a lot of work to get to this story, and
Right. Oh well. Thanks for your time.
I do like that Ashley Eckstein has met Hayden, and I think I've seen a picture of like Hayden and Matt Lanter together too. So the two Anakins there. But like the next thing that we got to from here too was that Andrea, you had I think you touched on it a little bit, but just like his like duality that Vader had
Yeah.
was showing in there.
Yeah. Just that his good it was such a mix of his good and his bad side. And the things he was saying, the way he was acting, the way he was talking, again, the visual representation of the different colored lightsabers. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Exciting to see that kind of brought into just that whole relationship too, brought into a different light. Like we see it in animation, but to see it just brought to light is really an interesting way to bring it to a new audience too. I think Disney loves doing that sort of stuff. Bringing things to a new audience. So if it introduces people to Clone Wars and they fall in love with Clone Wars, because I'm sure there's a ton of people that are just going into this fresh. So I'm sure this is a good, definitely like, oh, I want to learn about this kind of moment. Those moments between Anakin and her is definitely a great like leap into the Clone Wars series.
And when he said Snips, when they like echoed in, he was like, "Hey, Snips!" I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
that's so excited. Yeah.
I loved that. And then we saw Captain Rex.
Rex.
But is that all we're going to see of him?
I don't know.
That's kind of
probably
feel bad for what's his name there, Boba Fett.
Tamara Morrison.
Yeah.
I mean, he got his little like homeless Clone Wars guy or clone in Kenobi, and then it was pretty cool to see. Also, so it's also cool to see like actual physical Clone Wars armor, seeing as how most of the time like specifically that era of Clone Wars armor, because we've kind of seen like the more progressed version that looks closer to the Stormtrooper stuff,
Mhm.
but like they like with like the full like fin on it and everything like that.
Yeah.
The mohawk,
Because
Mhm.
I'm
the
sure it
tendril,
has. I'm sure it has
the
shown up in
flappy,
something else. Yeah.
floppy.
But yeah, I thought that was cool to see that and like to see Captain Rex with like all the markings and everything on his helmet. But I do hope we see him more. I mean, for those who know, this isn't the first time we've seen Captain Rex in live action.
Yeah,
Anyone
I'd
who's
like to
watched
see
Return
more.
of the Jedi.
I would like it was just
Santa Claus Rex.
that whole nostalgia thing, like to see the Clone Wars thing in live action was very cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And now everybody that didn't know what I was talking about with my theories with the armor and the Mandalorian, and I kept bringing up the Darth Maul Mandos.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's what their helmets look like. That's why I thought the armor was, in on that. So
Gotcha.
that was cool to see that in live action too. I mean, I like seeing stuff in live action, but I don't feel like it needs to be in live action to validate something. Which is
Yes.
Oh
Why-
no, not at all.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I don't think it valid. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just like I said. I think it's just to bring it to new people. And Disney's that's kind of what they're good at.
Yeah.
I mean, they make a whole market on it with every movie now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ahsoka and Hera are now both at Galaxy's Edge now too, which is awesome. Because they kind of just gave up the trying to stay very minimally between episode 8 and 9 for where like the timeline of Galaxy's Edge was supposed to be. That's why for
That's
like a
too
long time.
pigeonholed.
Yeah, that's like for a long time why it was only ever going to be Rey, Chewbacca, and Kylo walking around Galaxy's Edge. I mean,
They realized all the fans
maybe-
would hate that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who knows though? Maybe Boba Fett, Hera, Ahsoka, Mando are all still alive in that time period. Who's to
Anything
say?
can happen. Anything is possible.
It's true.
Anything.
But yeah, I would like to see more of Rex, and hopefully maybe we will later, and it'd be the old Rex too, like this nice, great big bushy beard.
Is it 10 episodes?
10.
8.
Oh, it's
eight?
an 8?
Yeah, it's only
Oh,
8.
yeah.
So yeah, we're already halfway through now.
Yeah. I'm just that's what I'm saying. Like that's what we were talking about at the top. Like where are we going?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
When are we gonna
if
say Thrawn's
it's
gonna be
8
like the
episodes,
last? Yeah.
Yeah, Thrawn. I feel like it's gonna be the last scene, and then that's it. That's what
Yeah,
we're moving towards.
and then like 2 years without anything.
Yep.
So we'll
Which,
see.
if that ends up being the case, that's going to be kind of a bummer that they would put footage of him in the trailer for. I feel like
I understand why they did it. It's to
Yeah.
build the
Yeah, well,
hysteria. but
and in a very recognizable spot too, because like
Mhm.
like I said last week, that bridge of the hyperspace drive, like
the Ezra
very-
Bridge,
yeah,
Ezra Bridger.
yes, the bridge to the world between worlds. But speaking of that, Mike, I know that you had a. That was loud.
I fixed it.
I know that you had a question about this being the world between worlds. Nice. And, Kenny with the dad jokes, even in the comments.
They're always there.
Great big bushy beard. It's for the greater good.
I don't know much about the world between worlds. From what I watched in recaps and like this is what you got to know before you watch Ahsoka stuff. I was expecting to see more of those portals when they were there, and then there was a lack of portals. So I'm just like, is this really the world between worlds or just the Force Ghost world where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see Bortles, you got to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, you said Portals.
Portals, not Bortles, and he retired anyway.
Bortles?
Blake Bortles.
Yeah. He's no longer around. He got dumped.
I'm making references only one or two people are getting.
You're referencing The Good Place. I know.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I am just a garbage person from Phoenix, Arizona.
Well,
You're not from there.
Well, for the past 12 years. Okay. Anyways, Kenny got it. There you go. There we go, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. But yeah, so I mean, you heard my theory of what like the world between worlds is, or at least like what I think it's meant to be, kind of like a, as far as it's almost like if it is, so I think someone called it like Star Wars heaven somewhere, whereas like I could see it kind
It's
of
very
being
close, I'd say. Yeah.
like if anyone saw the very like depressing Rob Williams movie, The World, or yeah, I was going to call it The World Between Worlds. What Dreams May Come, where like you kind of you pick like whatever your afterlife is going to look like.
Yeah, it's like a purgatory.
Yeah, or as we said last week, purgatory.
Purgatory.
Yeah. Yes, World Between Worlds is or is it the bad place?
Aren't they one and the same in the end? I don't remember how that show ended. I didn't watch the last season.
No, they were different places. Well,
yeah, they were. Yeah,
they were different places. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
different in the end.
yeah.
I agree.
The real good place was the friends who made along the way.
Yes.
But they were a bad batch.
Yes.
Oh boy.
The next point Andrea had in the notes, I had already kind of commented on, but I second what you said.
Yeah,
there.
I mean the young Ahsoka actress was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
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 She's had a very good career box office wise. Even I mean, so she was young Gamora in Infinity War, and then she was just in Barbie this summer.
Yes.
Because she plays Merrick Furr's daughter in that, and then
She's like everywhere.
then she was in this as young
Everywhere.
Ahsoka.
This is her prime. Yeah, she
But
played
she-
that so well. She
Mhm.
played
Probably
that
made the
role
least
so well.
amount of money for this, though, as we've been seeing.
Yeah, but dude, I don't know like how it would sound or how it would feel, but like if like this younger Ahsoka, like if they had Ashley Eckstein voice dub like over. I mean, I like Ariana Greenblatt as it, but I just kind of wonder like I'm sure somebody will eventually edit that or because the AI how it works now, someone will probably be able to figure out how to do
In
that.
20 years, they'll re-release this, and they'll have changed it to whomever, just like they did Hayden Christensen Force Ghost.
Mhm.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
Mhm.
But
Hopefully
yeah,
not whatever they want.
she has a very good casting agent. So and
She
then
knows people. That's for sure.
Clearly.
speaking of kids in this episode too, I liked like a lot more of the work that they did with Jason in this episode.
Mhm.
And I saw you guys had some notes about Jason in here too, so I'll let Mike go first, and then
Well, I just thought it was
an
interesting trait to throw in there that he can hear this battle that's happening in wherever they are. Thunderdome. Like
Oh yeah, like where he could kind of hear
everyone's just like, what do we,
roll
and he's just like, wait, listen, the water doesn't sound right.
Yeah, he was
Well-
like separate. He was able to differentiate the crashing waves and the lightsabers.
And I liked how it showed and validated what Ahsoka had said to Sabine a few weeks ago, that like about the Force, with like Hera, when she like really focused into it, was also able to feel the Force. There's a joke there about Kanan and Hera, but I won't say it.
Oops, didn't want to show that.
But there was I think it was later in the episode, but one of the things that I thought was funny was when Hu Yang was talking to Carson Teva and talking to him about Jason, and he's like his dad was Kanan Jarrus, who was a Jedi, so that's why he has abilities. And Carson Teva's just like, okay.
Yeah, it was just like it was just thrown in there, so it made why he could hear made sense. I think probably. I see his dad was
It was,
but
for people like me who hadn't seen Rebels or something, it was just like, well, we gotta explain it.
I looked to my wife and I was like, that was for the people that haven't seen Rebels, and she's like, yeah. And I was like, it would have been funny if Carson just looked at the camera, kind of like in I think it was Gold, one of the Austin Powers movies where they talk about time travel. It's like, I suggest you not worry about that and just enjoy that. And then that goes for you all too. Yes, and just be like, he's like, you guys got that? Watch Rebel. I saw a meme of that scene too, which was Hugh Yang just handing over a DVD set of Rebels after Carson says, "What am I missing?" And he's like, "Here."
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned Austin Powers because that came out when Phantom Menace came out, and it actually dethroned it at the box office.
Oh yeah, the
wow.
first one, yeah, yeah, way back in the 20th century.
Phew. Oh boy, let's not go
Many moons ago.
Now,
Simpler time.
there.
Back when floppies were a thing on PCs.
Definitely was a simpler time. Absolutely.
yes. Do you guys think they'll do any more with Jason with this?
Yes.
I mean, I hope so. It's got to go. It's like you got to give me something with something. Like, I just want to like we keep like I think it's like a kind of like a theme at this point that we're talking about. I just want to see where it's going. So I kind of want to see where it's going with him. I want to see where we're going right now. Like that's where I'm at with it. I just want to see. I want to know more about these whales too. These octo whales.
Wait.
Because they're super interesting to me. The octo whales and how they could just, like float around in space. But I just like I
They can use hyperspace.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's cool, and I want to know more about them.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get in their mouth.
Just apparently, it was like Moby Dick, and like Pinocchio. I was like, oh, because it's definitely like a Pinocchio reference or like a Moby Dick reference. It has to be.
I'd go Pinocchio because it's Disney.
Yeah. So I'm assuming someone's a big fan. Because I love Pinocchio. It's like my favorite Disney movie of all time.
Don't watch the live action one.
Yeah, don't watch the Tom Hanks one.
I mean, I've seen it, but Disney.
We know you're not talking about that one.
Disney knows, Disney gets me everywhere, so it is what it is. They can get me to watch anything at this point.
Nice. So like the next thing here too was that, Mike, I think you had a few notes like about Ahsoka returning to her roots.
Yeah, we saw it earlier this year, and I forget the series that it was on, where they had the Ahsoka short, where they kind of showed stages of her life.
Oh, Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, that one. Mm. And as a baby, she tames that giant beast using the Force. So it was just like, it was a nice tie-in to something that wasn't from Clone Wars or Rebels that I had seen. That was my memberberry.
Which that reminds me too, there was that TV spot that released before the season started that I remember we told Aspen about. Hi Aspen. That there's that TV spot where it was the dialogue of Hayden as Anakin talking to Ahsoka, and it's essentially one of the scenes from Tales of the Jedi. And I would have thought that would have happened in this episode.
I was waiting for it.
Have been, so either that's something they cut out, or maybe there's more Anakin stuff to come later on in this episode, or not episode, but this season. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens there. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that I liked in here too was that we can kind of start talking about Ahsoka the White, where she essentially gets, for lack of a better term, like baptized in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, and becomes.
She didn't fall off the last step into Mandalore and just drown herself.
It's like, oh, I fell over, but I seem to have fallen off a cliff. I'm in a great deal of pain.
It's beginning to smell like almonds,
which is not good. So much
Austin Powers out the wazoo tonight.
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't watched those movies in forever.
I heard they're making another one.
They've been saying that for forever.
Okay.
I did like the chemistry we had in here too between Hayden and Rosario, just because I think they've like been real life friends for like a very long time, like before Revenge of the Sith came out. So they finally kind of got to use that on screen. So it helped the fact that their characters are supposed to be. Man, Kenny's just in here with like all the good Austin
all the
Powers
jokes.
What?
Yeah, I really thought that talking about how just Ahsoka's presence in the end there, she just seemed like the first time she actually seemed like joyful and happy. When she was wearing the white, she was just at peace with herself. I do agree. I'm not quite sure what the struggle exactly was. That wasn't clear to me. What did Anakin actually help her resolve? But at the same time, I like
something's missing.
I like that she changed.
Mhm.
She was a different person. Just like she was just, like just smiling and like she didn't know what was going to happen. And it felt good. It was nice to see her transition.
Yeah.
Okay, because she was like, I choose life or I choose to live. That maybe that was the whole thing was, I don't know. It was cool visually, but something was lacking to make it cohesive.
Yeah, Ahsoka's seen Obi-Wan in Train Spotting, so that's why she chose life.
I mean, I would too, especially from the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
but yeah, I don't know. I get that. I kind of want to just believe that it was it wasn't really necessarily, it was just the way she saw herself and her younger self is what she reconciled things within herself is what I chose to believe about that whole thing. But I had to really work for it is how I felt about that. You know what I mean? Like I had to
it's true.
I mean, I watched it twice because I wanted to prepare. So I watched it twice. So I watched it pretty much back to back. So that's what struck me like in the second watching of it.
Maybe I should have done that.
Like I had to think about it. It wasn't just presented to me, which, it's okay. I mean, sometimes I think things work that way. Like you got to make your audience work sometimes. And
I'm 100% in agreement.
And I like that. Yeah.
I don't think that you wouldn't agree with that. Because I watch things over and over. It's probably a psychosis at this point, but I watch things over and over because I like to see different things about it. So watching it back to back kind of helped me see that. I think in a second watching, maybe you kind of have to work it up.
I can see that, but it's just I felt like maybe something got cut. Like I don't know
for sure.
Just one little thing to help tie it in a little more. Filoni knew what he was doing, and he. Guess it's all that matters.
That I remembered was with what Qui-Gon had said was like your perception determines your reality. So I think a lot of that is like basically what was like basically Ahsoka was holding her own self back in that.
I gotta plug my laptop. I'll be right back.
Is that what that noise was?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's what I liked a lot about that. We'll just keep it on this to make it even more awkward.
Wait.
Poor Adam.
But yeah, I mean I really enjoyed all of that there. And like we've already kind of talked a little bit about like her not having her headdress after that. And the moment like we first saw the pearls in this, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be how Ahsoka and the good guys go to get Ezra and Thrawn, but the bad guys, they'll use their space ring. So I like that wasn't like that big of a surprise, but I thought all of those shots were really cool. And especially like how like these past few episodes too have been like very like the clouds have been very dark and like overcast on that planet, and then after Ahsoka comes out of the ocean, essentially renewed.
We had to look for her on the 10th day or whatever.
Yeah, like it's like all blue skies, like these big white fluffy clouds and like very bright on the planet now. So I thought
Mhm.
that was kind of interesting as well. So it seems partially like because that planet's supposed to have like one of like those like very old like Jedi temples on it that like the maybe the how force sensitive maybe
I mean, the
planet
ruins
or
also
is
have those
attuned-
little flappies,
yeah
like the
yeah.
Eye of
the Eye of what
Sauron.
yeah
I know how to say it.
Oh, I thought you said your last name.
No, I know my name, and I know I'm not that
Are you
guy.
sure?
It's debatable.
Oh, man.
I know the word flappies, that's for sure. I'm gonna keep saying that.
Own it. Own it.
Or floppies, or whatever the heck Kenny said.
So yeah, so here too we kind of got the scene with Carson and Hera. I was talking about essentially because she went to go save everybody, and now a few people have died last week. That nobody can find them there. That she's probably gonna get like stripped of her rank and whatnot.
She's gonna lose a throat lozenge. She's going to. Those little cough drops on her vest.
It's a callback joke for everybody that listened last week. Now, and then we also get a name mention here too, which I know some of us have thoughts about as far as timeline wise, and because possibly I don't think any of us read any of the tie-in books from this time period too. So I'll let Andrea go with her thought here on the name drop that we heard.
Oh, I actually don't. I'm not sure. I just heard them say Senator Organa, and I was just like, huh. Like I don't actually know what the reference is. I haven't read any of the books, amazingly, right? I'm the book club person. I love my books. I've never read any of the Star Wars books.
Well, that's because nobody read them on Ted Lasso. So you have
I'm only reading books from Ted Lasso.
yeah. So you have that pile to get through before you can read the books that you would read normally.
I'm intimidated, to be honest. I love Star Wars and Star Trek. I'm intimidated by the number of books available in both those series.
Oh, there's a ton.
There's so many. And
Yeah.
I love reading, and I don't know. I've always been scared to dip my toe in there. But anyway, so I just heard them say Senator Organa. I do not know the time reference there, and if that is I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I just noticed it.
Yeah, I thought Alderaan was blown up, so at this point, so I was like, it can't be Bail.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
I didn't know. He went to pieces.
He's working for the NYPD right now.
The RIP, you mean?
Looking at Dennis Franz's butt. and saying shit on TV for the first TV show that ever got to do it.
It's true.
Quite a reference.
And then he's taking on Dexter Morgan. He's doing all the things.
He went and found himself a new career. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm saying he's an actor and he got other jobs, and that he should probably get compensated properly for different jobs that he's been doing. So that is why we support the actors and writers strike. So to segue for yeah. And speaking of great actors, David Tennant.
Oh yeah.
I just laugh at the picture that goes around of him from Jessica Jones, I think it is, where he's staring at what's her face all crazily.
Oh yeah,
I never realized it was David Tennant until
Mr.
this
Purple.
show.
Yeah, David Tennant is perfect, and he can't do anything wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. I have no notes.
He is a great grumpy old droid, that's for sure.
He probably had
Blunt
so much fun. Like I would love to see the recording booth stuff of him, because I'm sure there's a bunch of it. Like I would just love to see that. He probably had so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I could just imagine him having the time of his life in there, and I would love to see. I hope Disney releases something like that. Like, I mean, they probably will, don't they? Do like how this series was made, kind of stuff. Maybe we'll get it.
Yeah, they'll do one.
They tried to.
I hope so. I hope we get to see that, because I want to see him in a booth just recording that stuff, because it's going to be fantastic, like for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Seconded.
Yeah. And then because they've done makeups for most of these, so as we kind of close out, I know there's some stuff you guys wanted to kind of recap a little bit, like about Anakin within the show, as far as Adam had some thoughts about Anakin with the clones. I don't know, Mike had a follow up to that, and then Andrea had some after that.
The clones in the scene with the clones where he's talking
The graveyard.
Yeah, that scene to me.
I think graveyard.
I don't have the notes in front of me because I'm trying to go off memory. But that scene to me was pretty powerful. Like their dialogue together, and he's like basically telling her like, yeah, this is like the cost of war. Like these people are gonna die, and she's there like feeling for these people. She's there basically on a knee holding this trooper's hand, and he's so cold, and I felt like you saw the difference between his performance, his difference between like not being kind of cold and then getting to that point where like, I have to teach you this. Like it was, he saw it as a teachable moment for she's going to be a warrior, and she saw it as I have to somehow reconcile this within myself because I am part of this. They're dead because of me. I didn't necessarily kill them, but they're dead because of me. And that's kind of how I saw that scene. I thought it played out pretty nicely.
Yeah. And she's supposed to be like 14 right here too. So
Yeah. She's a baby. Like she's a baby.
Yeah. And then Mike,
that's a heavy legacy. That's a heavy legacy for her, and I did think that was really interesting. Her point about, Anakin was saying about how, this legacy of people have trained him. And she's like, yeah, but mine is war. Mine is war and death. And that was really interesting. And it's her so young, like having that younger actress, I think really hit home. I think that's a great point about, I think the animated series, you almost kind of could blow that over a little bit, like not really think about it, but seeing that young actress playing that role, that was really heavy. Yeah.
Do you think they made her watch Star Wars before she took this role?
She had to have seen that. She had to have watched some of that.
Yeah, I would
Curious.
assume.
oh yeah. Well,
I've read that Filoni made someone watch something so specific to get it right. It might have been Rosario Dawson, but
he had I know he had Mary Elizabeth Winstead watch a bunch
there you go. That's who it was.
Hera related material so that he would like know where she was coming from. And I know Hayden just chose to watch Clone Wars all by himself just before he came back for Kenobi, because he's like, I wanted to watch it so I could see like what like Matt Lanter had done with it, so I could kind of pick up from where he had like left off. And that, even though technically I guess it was the other way around, whereas that Matt picked up from where before he left. I don't know.
Hayden truly loves this role, you can tell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he still freaking is amazing with the lightsaber choreography. Like freaking like he did the like Mustafar move with like the lightsaber in the front, twisty, like I don't know, the twirly twirl in the front, and then the twirly.
Didn't Ahsoka just like take it out of his hand and then like
yeah,
like, stop that.
She's a badass. I love her. I love her. I do. I love her.
Yeah,
I did like this too, where you like this is the version of Vader that Palpatine wanted, not this arm cut off, this arm cut off, this leg cut off, this leg cut off, and then burn to a crisp.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would he not want that? This perfect specimen.
Yeah.
Although if that had happened, you know how quickly Anakin would have like overthrown him and like kept all the clones and all of that after it.
Oh man,
you think that?
I think
but if Palpatine's heaping on that praise, which Anakin loves because he never really got it, and he's giving him that like build up dad feels.
I don't know.
He would have been just this wrecking ball for Palpatine, cutting everybody's heads off.
It could be like if Star Wars did like What If, and like
I
did
wish
like
they
a
would.
mashup with Marvel. That would be a cool episode.
That would be.
Even if that was like the premise of like the like Visions Volume 3, where it's like Star Wars Visions : What If Volume 3. That's a lot of hype.
If only Star Wars would do that. I mean, don't let me get on a tangent here. But Star Wars needs to let their legacy go a little bit and show other damn stories.
I absolutely agree. I think that's how you really could bring it to a new audience.
I mean, they try with Visions, but Visions ultimately, to me, becomes about, let me showcase my animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a few good stories that get told, but ultimately it's just like, look how great we can animate. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But what was the point? Why did I watch this?
Mm-hmm.
I love animation when it's done well.
When it's done well.
You could say that I'm fascinated by animation.
One could.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And then, like, yeah, Adam also had something about the Siege of Mandalore scene where Ahsoka was speaking on her legacy there too. And it's kind of going off the same thing too, with like how calm she is an adult. Just basically like showing the remorse for that.
Yeah, she's definitely hardened by what she's gone through, and that's what we're seeing. Is this emotionless?
And that's what she mostly is. And then she, like, when she came back and she smiled at Jason or Jace,
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Yeah, Jason.
When she smiled, like when she smiled at him,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a totally. She had some sort of relief. It seemed like more than she had in any of the previous episodes. So, like you were saying, she was very like. No, I would say almost cold, to a sense.
Yeah,
not like, you know, in a bad sense, being cold, but just desensitized cold to life and what she had lived through. And I think that journey that she went on, that's why watching it a second time helped me feel that reconciliation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm looking at the comment.
For those listening on the audio version, Kenny left us a comment that is a reference to something that you may, if you like Star Wars, you may understand it. I don't like animation. The brushstrokes are coarse, rough, and irritating, and the paint gets everywhere. It's all Walt Disney's fault. He's holding me back.
It's great to be read out loud.
Yeah.
I like it. It's funnier that way.
But yeah, and to kind of start to wrap up our thoughts, I'll let Andrea go first because I see hers written in the notes, and then Adam, and then Mike, and then I'll close it out, and then let everybody give their plugs to stuff.
Yeah, I just said I'm still struggling a little bit with how we're moving this story forward. This is 5 episodes in, and what's happened so far, right? Like they found a map, they lost a map. And some other
destroyed a map.
Yeah, there was some fighting and some cool shit happened. I swore again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's no fucking big deal.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know where I realized I didn't. Yeah, I have a potty mouth. And just not a lot has moved forward. The characters haven't moved forward. I'm hoping we see more now. Like, yes, this like glimpse of Ahsoka changed. Maybe we're gonna drive the story forward a little bit more. We're going to meet 5 episodes are going to meet a guy.
Sure, I agree with that. It's funny, but I pretty much piggyback on that. I am wondering like where we're gonna go. I think it'll probably be if this is like the arc that they're doing, we'll see kind of the beginning of where they're gonna go in this next episode. But I want to see. I don't know if I'm like just if it's like the binge person in me that's like wanting it this quickly, because I mean that could be.
I wish they'd drop them all instantly.
Like
that way,
part of me wishes that, and then the other part of me like kind of likes to look forward to like.
I'll pay an extra $1 a month to get them instantly. I don't care.
I mean, they'll take your money for sure.
Yeah.
They have no problem.
They just raised my rates, so they're getting it one way or another.
Oh yeah, they raise them all, but that's where I'm at with it too. Like I don't know if it's because of the binge person in me, or whatever. But like I'm
That
just
brings out the
curious.
man in you.
I'm really I'm really, and I'm kind of anticipating some things, and I'll live in that anticipation every week. That's kind of the part of not binging. So
There's pros and cons.
for sure.
Con, I don't get to watch them all right now. Pro, not much. But no, the one thing we didn't talk about was I didn't know if it happened before, leaving like an imprint or an impression on an object where you can just hold it and basically see what happened there as a Jedi power. Has that happened before?
Yeah, Cal has that in the Force
video game.
in the video games.
Oh,
Ray kind of shows that in episode 9, like when they're trying to find some of that stuff in there.
Yeah.
But they've started to use it a little bit more after that. Like,
Gotcha.
So like Ray has it, Cal has it.
Force
You have that power too.
I think
Talent.
it's called.
It comes down to
Force. Everything has something imprinted on it, and that's kind of like in the video game. It's kind of, that's how I was introduced to it, like more.
That's why I was not introduced to it.
Yeah, that's how I knew what it was. Kind of. So. Yeah.
And then the other question I had: the whales know where Ezra is. Apparently, why didn't they just talk to them in the first place instead of going to get this map that was in the ruins that you had to do this elaborate puzzle just to destroy the map and then be like, oh, we're screwed. Oh, wait, no, we're not.
We have whales.
Well, do they know where the whales are? That's a good question. Do they know where the whales are all the time, or do they just find them? Right? Like if they can travel light speed, how do you know where they are?
Yeah.
Why did they pick this planet to build the giant ring? Like, why are we here?
Well, I think that's all based on like the ancient like paths of like the pearls that like even like the I don't know, like the thing that kind of shows up like the map, like I don't know, like holograph or whatever it has like the whales going around it. And I want to say, I don't remember if they said it here in Ahsoka, but it was like that path is like based off of like old hyperspace travel, and that the
why didn't they just get R2 out of hibernation? He knows where everything is.
The droid knows. Again, back to the droids. They know all and are the characters.
No, I'm enjoying the series for what I kind of agree. Like, where was this? Where are we going? We did just watch a bunch of stuff to go find one guy, and we still haven't found him yet.
2 guys.
It kind of felt like this was the start of the series, the way this episode went. So we'll see where it goes. I'm excited. I wish I could watch it now, but that's just my vice.
I also wish that I could have saw this in a theater, like a bunch of those random.
Yeah, why just pick like one city to do these things in? Like,
well, I mean, I think Adam was the closest of all of us.
Probably. I mean,
Chicago. They did one in Chicago.
Yeah, living in LA, we pretty much get all those little exclusive things. I mean, everything's kind of. They may do it at a theater that's, like not a place I wouldn't go, but just like I'm not going to drive 25 miles to go see something.
But it's just they can broadcast things like working at the theater. They have the ability to show anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So why limit it? Like,
yeah, there's
Disney's complaining they're not making money. You can make money by doing that.
There's definitely a market for this stuff because, like, when before Rebels even premiered, they did a similar thing to that I went to with my son, whatever year that was, where they showed like they just called it the Spark of the Rebellion, or it was like the first 2 or 3 episodes of Rebels, and that was really cool to see that in a theater. I wish I could see, like, once you watch something in a theater too, you're like, man, I wish I could just watch all of this in the theater. Like, you get a random time I got to see an episode of Lost in the theaters. Like, I wish I could have watched all of this TV show in a theater.
Didn't you see Stranger Things finale last season in theaters?
I brought my son one of the years on Stranger Things Day to see the season 3 finale, and that was amazing. That felt like just watching like an old 80s movie like in a theater, especially like
There's a
how
market for it. It's just
yeah.
It's only
And it's-
one solution, I think, is to get your own home theater.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that doesn't even matter. It's like it's a different thing.
I understand. No, you can like get a projector. I understand the surround sound. You can do all that stuff at home if you have the right amount of
money.
Feeling.
I did a report on that in college. The difference between going to theater and doing it at home. I was like, you want to spend $15,000 to $20,000 when you can just spend $10 and go at the time $10.
I mean, it is. I love the immersiveness of theaters, and I mean,
it's a shared experience too.
But even that's kind of fun. I mean, here in LA, when we have like big opening weekends and stuff, like people go crazy. It's insane. Like people cheer. There's a lot of like excitement around stuff like that here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like a pretty neat thing, and like that's kind of like a cool advantage of living out here is those types of things, like lively audiences. Like that's what's cool about going.
Yeah.
But I also like going when nobody's there. You know,
I prefer that.
But just enjoying it.
But then
like,
it just feels cool. You're like, look at this massive.
I can sit there. I can sit over there. This chair displeases me.
Benefits to both of them. But I would watch some things, and like I would watch a series like this in a theater. Like that'd be awesome. Like I would sit there. I would take I would watch it and then do an intermission and then finish it. Like that would be something I would do. They can do that. I would go.
Mark and I sat in the theater for 13 straight hours watching Lord of the Rings.
Trilogy Tuesday.
I don't know if I can do that. I'm in my 40s. I definitely can't do that now. I can't sit in a theater for 13 straight hours. No way.
Two guys walking somewhere for 3 movies just to drop something in a hole.
I
you guys
grew
wanna
up in a
save-
college. I live by University of Chicago here in Chicago. I grew up around there, and so it's a college town. So they used to always play like every year. They did the Star Wars trilogy one day, and me and my brothers went every year. And it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It sounds awesome. I mean, I'd do it.
yeah.
I know when they did Rise of Skywalker came out, they had an option where you could watch the 9 movies. I was like, no, I'm too old for that now. I'd fall asleep.
Well, I went up. What Endgame or whatever came out? They played every Marvel movie at certain theaters for like 2.5 days.
I was gonna be like, I don't want to like smell myself 3 movies in. But,
It's also a lot of nachos and like pretzels and soda.
Yeah, that was what's cool about the Lord of the Rings one is they let us go to the food court and get whatever we wanted and bring it back in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Mike also did that when he saw Passion of the Christ. He brought a burger.
Yeah, I snuck in some hamburgers and I was like,
that was a great choice to be eating some raw red meat.
It wasn't raw; it was cooked.
While you were watching the Passion of the Christ,
watching Jim Caviezel get beat.
Oh man.
Well,
on that note,
to segue from that, from one guy who played Jesus to a guy who played Space Jesus and Anakin.
I thought Obi-Wan was Space Jesus.
Yeah, I think Obi-Wan is Space Jesus.
He looks like Space Jesus, but in metaphor and
I don't think Jesus slayed a bunch of younglings ever.
I don't agree with that. I love me some Anakin and Vader. He's not Jesus. He's not the Jesus.
You was the chosen one.
No, we weren't. He was the fallen.
Maybe Anakin is Lucifer.
Yes.
There's a fallen angel there.
Yes.
Or maybe he's Crowley and Obi-Wan is what's Michael
Azrael?
Yeah, there you go. Obi-Wan is Azrael and Anakin is Crowley.
Oh my God, they're secretly in love.
I mean,
that's the story I want to see.
He said, "I loved you."
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really liked this episode. I make no apologies for that. I know.
You don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't say that I did. I said that I make no apologies for it.
Shouldn't even be on the table. Apologies are gone.
But I mean, I can see where all viewpoints are coming from on this, and I still love everybody, even though you're wrong. But
I said I enjoyed the episode.
I
Yeah,
like
I
the
enjoyed it.
episode. I'm on board with you there.
Same.
There's just some confusion I want rectified. They're gonna up my subscription fees. I get my answers.
My expectations are too high. I want more.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, that wasn't me. That was Mike. He said Mark sneaking food. No, Mike snuck the food into the movie theater. It was Mike. It's not Mark. It was
I love sneaking food in the movie theaters.
M-A-R-C.
The only thing I haven't figured out is how to sneak a whole pizza into a movie theater.
I mean, we worked at a movie theater for a while, so it wasn't technically it wasn't sneaking food in. It was just bringing food to work with you.
But there's the thrill of sneaking it in and eating it when you're not supposed to bring in outside food.
Such a big rule. Love breaking rules, man.
People are crazy with it. The theater we worked at, people would put like 36 packs outside the exit doors and just like open them during the movie and sit there and drink them.
That's pretty wild. Under your shirt. Yeah, sure.
Anyway, to close out,
Thank you.
so since 5 episodes have been about, I guess from certain viewpoints, nothing. What would you like the
Bunch
last
of people trying to find one guy.
the last 3 episodes? What would you like to see happen in the last 3 episodes? Andrea, then Adam,
Ooh.
then Mike, then me. The one thing that you want to see happen in the next 3 episodes, or to narrow it down.
The characters showing real emotions.
I just want. I think I'll just stick with resolutions. Like we have the characters are kind of getting something happening, but they're not at the same time. So I kind of want to see just like some better character arcs or building of arcs or finishing arcs along those lines.
Mike?
I really don't have expectations of what I want because I don't know this. Like, resolutions is a good one. I can stick with that, but it's just I want. I want the story to progress. I don't want to keep doing the same thing every episode, just with different colored lightsabers coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying the series. I just want the story to progress and not be Rebels season 5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be Ahsoka, not. If that makes sense. Like, I finally feel like we're getting an Ahsoka story now that she's in the whale mouth. But
The octo whale.
and I also want to see that potato ship do some maneuvers. Because what the hell are they going to do? They're in a potato.
Part 6 of Ahsoka is going to be called Shadows of the Empire.
That'd be quite the spin.
Well, I mean, it'd be no different than like 5 episodes in of Book Boba Fett being about the Mandalorian.
All of a sudden, you just break out this huge, I don't even know if you call it like cult following Star Wars thing and make it canon.
Oh, and I want the Loth Cat to come back.
Who's feeding the Loth Cat? Who is
Right.
feeding that
They
cat?
just left the cat.
Themselves.
I feel like there's probably plenty of like rodents and stuff to eat.
I'm sure.
Porgs. It's just chasing porgs.
Swamp rats.
Porgs. There's probably porgs.
Moth dogs. Moth alligators. Moth rats.
Yeah, anything.
But yeah, the things that I'd like to see before the end of the season are Ezra and Thrawn.
You'll see one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether-
Before the
Maybe
last
they're one and the same. Isn't there a theory out there that Thrawn is actually Ezra now or something like that? Or
Yeah.
something like that?
And, I mean, I would also like to. It feels like they also have kind of like a Chekhov's gun kind of thing going on with Sabine and being able to use some kind of
Force.
ability.
I want her to try so
Yeah, just
hard
'cause-
and have something wrong go. Like, I want to move this cup, and then like the plate falls. Damn it!
Yeah, it's just because of how long they held on that shot, and they weren't doing it for like comedic.
And then she
Okay.
tried again when she was fighting
Yeah,
Blondie there. Whatever her name was.
Over there.
Shin.
yeah, Shin Hati. Yeah, I mean, speaking of that too, is that apparently people like short videos about the Force because we posted one and it's been like watched by like 20,000 people at this point for no rhyme or reason to it.
It's the internet
Like,
for you.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool, thanks.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason for anything anymore. It's all a crapshoot.
I was waiting for Kenny to say Chekhov's gun wrong franchise. All right, Anakin's lightsaber. Then there you go. Or Han Solo's blaster. Chewie's bowcaster. Okay, right. Ezra's blaster / lightsaber, because that was the coolest thing, because it was a blaster and a lightsaber. Not reread the Thrawn trilogy, Kenny, but maybe to read the Thrawn trilogy, since I have not read it a first time.
James Earl Jones just narrate it to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that can happen very, very soon.
Well, he did sell his voice, the rights to its voice, to Disney for Star Wars purposes.
Yeah, for a Reese feature, or just have Lars Mikkelsen narrate the book. There's a few newer Thrawn books too. I don't know. I know there's some newer Thrawn comics as well too. So I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there for people that are interested. Wow.
Interested.
I forgot the word interested.
People who are interested.
Yeah.
I thought you knew it.
Yeah.
You worked your way through it. You got it, man.
Yeah.
All that matters.
Yes. But yeah, so from there, I'm gonna let Andrea go first with her plug, then Adam, then Mike, and then
I don't have a plug.
Yeah. Well. So Andrea, take it away for your
I am part of the Coach Beards Book Club, which is at Beards Book Club on Twitter. I am also on there. You can find me through the Beards Book Club. I'm Andrea D.W. I talk about Star Wars and Star Trek all the time, among all the other things I love, like vampires and Our Flag Means Death and other random shows. Ted Lasso, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Well, it's for me, it's spooky season. So I'm about to produce a short film. I can't really give details. My girlfriend would kill me. But it's a short horror film. It's going to be fun. We have quite a few of them that I think we're going to start releasing next month for like Halloween season. So that would be it's Issue One Productions is my production company, and then I am Adam Danny Daniel on Twitter. That's kind of my only social media. I don't really plug my stuff because I'm nervous about it all the time. So I don't. But yeah, that's me. You can find me there, and I'll tweet some stuff out every once in a while.
You'll X some stuff out.
Oh yeah. I'll X stuff out. It's like calling the Staples Center crypto.com arena. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Didn't that like .com go belly up too or something like that?
Yeah, it did. It did. It's quite interesting.
Nice. And then for us from Holdo, you can leave us a review on the podcast catcher of your choice. Helps out when you leave us reviews. You can also find the show on social media at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at HoldoPod. And you can also find me and Mike on all those places at our first and last names. And then you can email us at holdopod@gmail.com. But as always, we are grateful to George Lucas for creating the Star Wars universe.
Oh my, thank the maker. You were supposed to stand up.
Oh yeah, the maker. There you go. Okay, bye everyone.